What's up, everybody? Hi, and welcome to Uncle Scott's Kitchen. You know, the other day here in Utah, it was 107 degrees. 107! Absolutely just searing outside. On the one hand, that's really terrible. On the other hand, it is high time to kick off summer grilling season. To do that today, we're going to take a look at this guy. This is a DeBouillé, French-made, blue steel, perforated grill pan. Does it produce delicious food? Is it a good one for your money? I don't know. Today we're going to cook a bunch of hopefully delicious food and find out. Let's get started. Okay, let's jump in and get to know the pan. The first thing you notice is that this thing has a lot of holes in it. In fact, this might be a great pan to take to church. Now, what purpose do these perforations serve? Why have a perforated grill pan? Well, according to the marketing materials, and what we're going to test out today, is that it allows you to take vegetables that are very thin, asparagus, for example, that might fall down in between your grill grates, and still cook those on the grill. Keep them organized, keep them contained. The perforations allow some of that smoke and flame to rise up through the pan and contact the food and give the food a nice grilled flavor without all the mess of cooking things directly on your grill. Now around here we've done a lot of videos on DeBouillé carbon steel skillets, either the Mineral Bs or the Mineral B Pros. Really like those skillets. This is my first DeBouillé blue steel pan. Now the blue steel is kind of a cousin to the carbon steel. As we know, those carbon steels ship with a protective layer of beeswax. This blue steel has a heat treatment applied to it. It protects the pan from rusting, and as such, there is no beeswax on the pan to remove. In the incomprehensible metric system, it's a 28 centimeter pan, which works out to be about an 11 incher in the sensible system, and you also get about 9 inches diameter of cooking surface. Now with DeBouillé pans, this blue steel is thinner than what we're used to with the carbon steel skillets. And with the holes punched out of the cooking surface, it weighs in at just a little bit under 3 pounds. Now let's take a quick look at the handles. If you look inside the pan, there are no rivet heads. In fact, you can see small indentations where the handles connect on the outside of the pan. Now DeBouillé also makes this pan in a version with a longer strip steel handle. I didn't want that version. I wanted this one with the 2 smaller stainless steel helper handles for 2 specific reasons. The first is I think it fits better on a barbecue grill. Here you can see that a pan with a longer handle just doesn't work correctly. You can't even get the lid to shut. And 2, the stainless steel should be much more tolerant of higher temperatures used in grilling than the other handles might be. Seasoning. Okay, in here I ran into a bit of a problem. And the problem is not with the pan. The problem is with the packaging material and the instructions. What is printed on this card does not go with this pan. I was getting ready to season the pan. I read the directions on the card and something was amiss. Now a few things jumped out at me. The directions say that the pan can be used on an induction burner. Not sure I want to use that pan on any burner for that matter, induction or not. It's perforated. It talks about cleaning the pan. You can deglaze the pan to clean it. Again, a perforated pan, that would be an absolute disaster to try and deglaze that pan. It also talks about heat. It says that it shouldn't be used at over 400 degrees for more than 10 minutes. Now, I don't know about you, but my barbecue grill gets much hotter than 400 degrees. Now, if you can't use this perforated pan on your stovetop, you couldn't use it on your barbecue grill, and you could only go above 400 degrees for 10 minutes, how would you even season it in your oven? Something was horribly awry with the directions. I got in touch with DeBouillé, and we kind of went back and forth and swapped some emails. What we figured out is that these directions are not for that pan. They go for another pan in DeBouillé's lineup. Now this is a new pan in their lineup, whether something was lost in translation between the factory in France and the directions that are shipped with the pans to America. Who knows, but these directions were incorrect and very confusing. So I've got to scold DeBouillé just a little for that. Hopefully with the next batch of pans, they will get that corrected. Okay, so after confirming that my grill pan could actually be used on a grill, I moved ahead with the seasoning. Remember, there's no beeswax on this pan like the carbon steel, so I just gave it a good wash. And here I want to season this thing outdoors on the barbecue grill. I got a nice coat of grapeseed oil on the pan, put it on the grill, brought it up to smoking. I carefully added a second coat of grapeseed oil, let it smoke some more. And look at this. I think the seasoning looks really, really nice. The color of the pan has changed and it's nice and black and dark and shiny. Okay, now let's cook some food. Now, when Debouillet markets a new pan like this, they will often send out some recipes to try that really highlight the features of the pan. The one they sent out for this pan is for a grilled veggie and crouton salad. Looks really fancy, looks really nice and colorful. Now, I'll put up a link somewhere around this video to the recipe on the Debouillet site. Recipe was created by French master chef Nicolas Rieffel. Let's see if old Uncle Scott in Utah can reproduce it. This recipe is actually fairly challenging. We're going to make a homemade vinaigrette. We're going to make homemade croutons. Then we got a bunch of veggies to slice up and grill. Peppers, eggplant, zucchini, red onion, cherry tomatoes. Now I'm going to admit right here that I made two mistakes in this recipe. The recipe calls for herbes de Provence. I did not have those. A master chef would probably never be caught dead without those. But I found a recipe on the internet, shook out the spice drawer, got pretty darn close. I'd say 85% there. And my second mistake is the day after making the recipe, I noticed an eggplant sitting on the counter. Somehow I forgot to chop up and add the eggplant. Master Chef would never forget to add the eggplant. Quick guest appearance here by the old Philips air fryer. Did a great job at toasting these homemade croutons. Now for the grill pan, I got the pan heated up out on the barbecue grill. Got my veggies all chopped up, got the oil added, went out there and poured them in. Got a nice little flash of steam and a little bit of flame, and they started cooking. Now what I noticed right off the bat is I made the recipe according to the directions, but it really filled up the pan, and I felt like the veggies were steaming just a little bit rather than grilling. So I removed some and essentially just cooked it in two batches. They grilled up really nicely, removed those, put them on a nice plate, added my onion, added my vinaigrette, added the croutons. And on the left is the Master Chef version. On the right is Uncle Scott's version. And I think we came pretty darn close. Really delicious, really tasty, really colorful. And if I can make it, you can too. Next up, some grilled asparagus and red onion. This is another one from the Debouillet website, but much easier to reproduce. Got my asparagus and onion all prepared. On goes some olive oil, some salt and pepper. Into the grill pan they go. And here I want to illustrate 2 points about this pan. The first is that, yes, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. It keeps things that are thin, like this asparagus, like the onion as it falls apart. It lets you grill those and get some great grill flavor without them falling down through the grates of your grill. So it's very good at doing that. The second is that grill space is always at a premium. So I got a little bit of a first world nitpick here. I think if this pan were square or perhaps rectangular, it would do a little bit better job of maximizing its footprint on the grill, and you could get a little bit more food in it. Next up, some blackened shrimp. Got these guys marinating and kind of soaking in some spices, some brown sugar, a little bit of olive oil. Get the pan on the grill, wipe it down with some oil, in go the shrimp. And I thought they turned out nice and tasty. Now here I do want to point out that this is kind of a push. The pan did a fine job, the shrimp cooked nicely, but I don't think the pan is absolutely necessary. I think these shrimp would have been just as good in a cast iron, in a carbon steel, or even on skewers and directly on the grill for that matter. Now here, let's take a quick look at cleanup. This is quite the mess from the blackened shrimp. Now when it comes to cleaning this pan, I have a little bit of a confession to make. Normally I take meticulous care of my pans. The cast iron, the carbon steel, anything that needs to be seasoned. I am not doing that with this grill pan. I'm kind of just viewing this pan as part of my grill. It's much cleaner than my barbecue grill grates are. I just give it a wash, I dry it, I wipe it down with oil, and I've even started just storing it outside on the barbecue grill when not in use. Okay, let's talk about value for a moment. I paid somewhere around $75 for this pan. It seemed a little bit steep at first, but then I started doing some comparisons. My wife had gotten me a 2-pack of these stainless steel grill pans from Costco. Those were about 20 bucks for the pack. I also looked at these Weber pans when I was in Home Depot the other day. And I just got to say that these cheaper pans, they're very, I don't know if flimsy is the right word, but they're not nearly as strong as the Blue Steel. Now, if my wife wouldn't really get on to me, I think I could bend this pan in half right now. You're not going to do that with the Dubuyer pan. 75 bucks, it might seem kind of steep for a pan like this, but then I started thinking about it a little bit more. There's hyperinflation in the economy. If you want a good French-made Blue Steel grill pan, you may just have to get out the wallet. And now for the grand finale cooking test. Let's grill some peppers and onions for some fresh brats. Oh, do I love a good fresh brat right off the grill. If this pan could do nothing else other than this, it would be fine with me. Now for decades, when I would eat a bratwurst, I would eat it with spicy brown mustard and sauerkraut. These days I've changed a little bit. Now if you remember when we did that review of that Dubuyer crepe and tortilla pan, we made some Italian flatbreads called piadine. I had them over in Italy, and over there with their sausages, they would have sweet peppers, onions, and grilled eggplant. And let's try that for this first batch. So I got my eggplant grilling here. Nothing is sticking, getting some nice char and some color on the eggplant. Take those out. Next in goes some white onions and red peppers. Get those grilled up nicely. And then to assemble the brat. Absolutely delicious. You don't have to have an Italian flatbread to enjoy it. It works pretty darn well on a grilled hot dog bun too. Now let's try it without the eggplant, but with some red, green, and yellow peppers and onions, and use this to illustrate a pro tip here. When you add food that is coated in olive oil or other moisture to a perforated grill pan that is above an open flame, do not stand directly over the pan if you want to keep your eyebrows. Now, admittedly, this is pretty fun once you get the hang of it, but when you use a pan like this, anything you pour in there, any liquid, any moisture is going to go down through the perforations. If you're on a very hot grill above an open flame, that moisture and that liquid is going to hit that flame and it is going to flash up. And here it is, absolutely delicious, one of my favorite foods and a little bite of heaven. Okay, for the Dubuyer French-made Blue Steel perforated grill pan. It's not a perfect pan, but it is a really good one. Did a good job grilling veggies on my barbecue grill. I like it a lot, and I give it a 3/4 thumbs up.